I am new, so I cannot give you, I would say it is not the intent of the leadership of my organization at this time. And I cannot speak to what previous leadership may or may not have intended under their purview. And I see a lot of the struggle that Portland is experiencing currently based off of the way rents are increasing, and I am doing a lot of work within the district to prioritize affordable housing, even though as an agency that's not our mission either. So when we do a lot of our projects, we make sure to partner with PHB to ensure that projects have affordability within them. But I don't have more to add to that at this time.
One more question.
Okay, greetings. My name is Amari, by the way. I'm new out here in Portland, Oregon. I'm on behalf of the International Indigenous Association of the United Nations. We want to be able to work hand in hand with you guys to see if we can help in any open allocation of funds or for indigenous and native communities. We want to be able to have a voice of the community about the undocumented nationalities of people or being classified as colors. From our research, we want to be able to give an alarming address to nationality and origin. There's no such thing as colored, African American, white, green, purple, yellow, blue people, because the United Nations cannot come to save or seek relief for those individual colors of people that don't have a national identity. So I'm a Moorish American, and we're here to be able to get with all commissioners to be able to come up with comprehensive remedies for economic development in rural areas. And would you be open to any communication private other than this public setting right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. So if you came in late or didn't hear me say this the first time, there are some pieces of paper on every table and also by the front door. Like I said, recognizing that we might not have time for everyone's questions, you're welcome to circle in who you have a question for, including if you still had follow-up questions for Thea from Prosper Portland. Fill in your question, and then there's a red drop box. Ben, will you hold up the coffee? There it is. To drop them off at the end, I know that Thea definitely wants to hear as much feedback as possible from the community, so we will get your questions or comments to Prosper Portland if you submit them to us. Okay. Before we move on to our next speaker, I just wanted to open the floor to community announcements if anyone has any. This is the portion where if you want to share with your community some event that you know about or something that you're organizing, something that's coming up or something you might want to partner up on, please raise your hand, and we ask that you take no more than 60 seconds or so to announce your event. And, yeah. Does anyone have anything to announce? Any community announcements? Right there, Robert.
By all means.
Jennifer.
So I've been made privy to a program that's at Kelly Elementary School called the Russian Immersion Program. And on Tuesday, February 18th, if you have a child going into kindergarten, they have an open house for that. And it starts at 5:30 p.m. at the Kelly Elementary School.
Thank you. Robert?
Lents Fair is happening in August. We are forming ourselves as a nonprofit. If you'd like to be involved in it, let me know. Open, free community event sees between 2,000 and 3,500 people attending. And we are lucky that Prosper Portland is letting us use their space again. So,
Anyone
sorry,
else?
just contact me if you're interested.
Anyone else? Over there. Will you raise your hand?
This is right. Come on down. So I'm coming to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Melton. I'm from the Lents Business Association. I want to let you know that we all meet every second Wednesday at 6:30 at Bella's Italian Bakery and Market. So if any of y'all want to come down and check us out, hang out, if you have any suggestions or anything you want to do or partner with us on, we're always open and welcome to meet people in the community. And as a Lents resident, longtime Lents resident, I do want to sort of support the from Prosper Portland, who was talking to us about the spaces that they have. I'd like everyone to know that that Lents Green Business Association has worked with them on a committee trying to go through the applications for the grant program that they have for the spaces, that if you are a woman or underserved community member in Portland, that you can apply to get a grant that they help you with to grow a business in Lents. I want to remind everybody it's a long process and that these folks that apply still need to come to the table with some kind of financial backing to partner with the grants that they would then get and also apply for loans. So they're not sitting on these properties just waiting. They're really trying to find the people who can come and meet them in that middle ground that they can start this business. It takes a long time. It really takes a long time. And I want you to know that they are working on these spaces and they are trying to build them. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay.
Any other announcements? Okay. So it sounds like we're ready to move on. Before we switch over to Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, I wanted to go over our agreements or our code of conduct. There's a copy on every table. And what this is essentially is we got together as a community, I think at least, well, a year ago or a year and a half, and decided to set some ground rules for how we interact with each other in meetings, and we kind of agreed on what behaviors we want to see more of and what we don't really want to see here as a community. So I think, okay, I'll just read through some of them, and if we can all agree on them, I think it'll be very helpful, and this meeting's going to run really smoothly, and we'll have room for everyone's voice. So please avoid speaking out of turn or interrupting. If you would like to speak, raise your hand and then wait for us to call on you and wait to have a mic in front of you to speak. Avoid personalization of negative feedback. Obviously avoid racist, sexist, xenophobic, or ableist language. Please avoid talking down and talking over, placing blame, or being disrespectful. And please do assume good intentions on behalf of everyone who's here. Please be welcoming of new members and guests. Respect the facilitators. If you've already spoken tonight, this is very important. Please consider making space for others to feel heard. And I just want to emphasize that there is no such thing as, a question that shouldn't be asked necessarily. Like if you feel naive about asking a question, I know some people carry themselves like they have some superior understanding of certain topics, and that may be true, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from people who maybe know less. Please respect different viewpoints, respect boundaries, offer constructive criticism or propose solutions, and finally, please get involved if you like. So can we kind of agree on those for this meeting? And if you have any that you'd like to propose, this list is always open, a live document. All right, thank you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, who is here to talk about Street Response, a pilot program that they're launching in Lents specifically. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I want to compliment Lents Neighborhood Association. I never do community meetings that don't have childcare, that don't have food, that doesn't make sure that we're removing barriers for people's full participation. And it's wonderful to see that model out in the neighborhood where people understand that people are coming from work or school and life, and if you want them to show up, you got to actually feed them and allow them to be able to bring their youngins with them. So thank you for that. You are modeling good behavior that we want to see spread all over the city of Portland. And so I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to invite Cara Sands from Street Roots and I'm gonna invite Tremaine from Portland Fire and Rescue to come up and join me so that we can have a conversation. Because I don't like talking the whole time. Believe it or not, as a public servant, I really don't like talking at people the whole time. So I'm gonna tell you what the vision is. I'm gonna tell you why Lents is the lucky neighborhood who's getting this project. And I'm gonna tell you how you can be a part of making sure that this project is successful. So I ran for office under this premise that people who are suffering from a mental health issue shouldn't die because somebody calls 911 for help. I ran under the assumption that we needed to really rethink how we did first responders and, quite frankly, who we sent as first responders out in the community. Now, my office, because, you know, my trade is I'm a community organizer, so when I'm thinking about public policy, I'm thinking about it from the position of who needs it most, and how do I make sure that I'm centering their voices in the deliberation and the development of that policy. So when I got to City Hall and I went and talked to Fire and Rescue and said, hey, I got this great idea. They told me that I was a little crazy and I should rethink my original premise. Because my original premise was, let's just send firefighters, right? They don't carry weapons, and normally when people see them coming, people see help is on its way. But once I got into City Hall and got on the other side of the desk, what I realized is we really did need to be more thoughtful. And we had some models that were already working. For example, Tremaine has been working in this project called CHAT. And when Tremaine comes up here, he can tell you what the acronym stands for. But basically, it is people who call 911 a lot, right? What we call frequent users of 911 service. And what they did long before I got here was start to do some analysis saying, well, you know, there are people that are calling 911 regularly, and they really don't need 911. But what they need is a caring person to show up. What they need is somebody to help them navigate systems in our community. What they need is a caring ear. And so the chat program was created to actually take those 100 top callers to 911 and really do one-on-one visits, which is what Tremaine did. Went to their homes when they weren't calling 911, sat down and talked to them. And here's what we found. What we found were that there were many seniors who were isolated, didn't have family in the community, and quite frankly, there was a lot of pride about actually calling and asking for help. But if you call a firefighter, they're just going to show up and they're going to smile and they're going to talk to you and they're just going to hang out with you until they're sure you're okay. So here's what Portland Street Response will do. The pilot, so when we developed the pilot, we started by going out and interviewing houseless people on the street. And here's the questions that we asked them. What do you need from first responders? When somebody shows up because 911's been called, what do you need? And they gave us a list of what they needed. We talked to the business community. We did a survey. What do you need? Realizing that we're in a housing crisis in the city of Portland, realizing that we will not be able to build fast enough for all the people who need housing in our community. What do you need? Then we went and talked to service providers. So what we did was really take our time and have lots of community conversations and dialogues and surveys and did the analysis based on that information. What Portland Street Response will do will be to have a EMT, Tremaine, and it will have another individual. And the other individual we're still trying to work out. It could be a mental health professional, could be a peer supporter, could be a nurse, it could be a social worker. The second person will be someone else who can help provide support to the individuals that are in crisis on our street. Why are people on our street? People are living on our streets because it is too expensive to live in the city of Portland. When we talk about housing and housing affordability, I think that, I know the city of Portland has truly missed the ball because the median income in the Portland metro area today is $81,500 for a family of 4. Now, most people I know don't make that kind of money, right? So if you're working 2.5 or 3 minimum wage jobs, there's almost nowhere in the city of Portland you can live. So when we talk about building affordable housing, but yet we start at 80% of MFI, we're saying that you have to have $72,000 in order to have the privilege of applying for affordable housing, right? That is not affordable housing. And that is the challenge. The challenge is to get people to be very specific about what they mean when they say affordable housing.